Hey everybody, this is Ben with Underground Sprinkler Corps, just trying to do a public service announcement because we're getting a lot of calls with the upcoming freeze as to what we can do to protect pipes for people, being that we can't be at everybody's house on the same day and get it done. First appropriate measure would be to turn off the water in the basement, and your valve probably will not look like this valve here, but it might look more like this valve here, where it's a 90-degree turn, and when you turn it like that, the water is now off to the sprinkler system. There are also valves that can look somewhat like this, although this one here is a boiler drain style drain. But if that drain, if this actually went through the pipe over to the sprinklers, you might have a handle like this, and you would turn it to the right until it quit and then snug it as hard as you can, because these typically are a little difficult. But again, it wouldn't look quite like this, but it would have a round handle on it. In my case, this one is also a 90-degree turn, so I simply turn it off, just like I showed you on this one, where it's a 90-degree turn. So you might have a yellow handle, you might have a blue handle, some of them have red rubber on them, whatever. These handles often will be red and white, and in fact, the name brand of those often is red-white valve. And then in a minute, you'll come back down after we do some things outside, and you'll actually open this drain, which is just a simple little cap on a drain nipple that's threaded. You'll take that off. You're going to want to have a small bucket for that in order to capture the water. If you follow the pipe up, this is the easiest way to know, hey, did I get the right one? Often it'll be marked, in my case, and then it disappears into some void. But I happen to know this to be true. Many of you will have sprinkler written here or on the wall. Many of you will just simply know whatever is going on there. So that is this portion of the beginning of getting your system shut off. Okay, we're back, and the next step on getting the system protected, and especially this piece here. This is your backflow here. This is what we call a backflow, pressure vacuum breaker, whatever you want to call it. Anti-siphon is what some people call it. Regardless, this is the piece that's susceptible when the freeze comes. We want to protect this. So we've already shut it off in the basement, the water source. That's good. That means if this freezes and breaks, water will not flow, but we don't want this to freeze and break. Therefore, what we're going to do is just come over here, and we're going to open these test cocks here, otherwise known as drains for most people, and really that's how you can view it. You're going to turn that so that it's no longer perpendicular, but it's going to be not quite parallel, but just off. Parallel is still better than perpendicular. Water will drip out of here when you do that, and then you'll take the handles right here and just cock them off of parallel, but never, 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 I repeat, never, never do that. If it looks like that, you're going to break it, so please don't do that. Just, it would be better to leave them fully parallel. Just cock them off of parallel and you'll be fine. So you can see there, those are just off parallel, and these drains here are open, okay? They are no longer closed. I've got 4 other examples, because yours may not be a Febco 1-inch. You might have this one, which is a Febco 3/4 inch. This one's broken, it's just an example of one, but again, I would have a slight off of center on those, and you'll notice that the test cocks in this case, even though it's a dead one, are closed. So again, just to show you close up, let's open those, and then let's get that one on there, and we'll open that one, and that's what that would look like then until we can get there and blow it out, because we can always reverse this in order to put the air hose on and get it blown out. Here's a Watts 1-inch. They also come in 3/4 inch. You'll notice again, just slightly off center, and again, this test cock has been opened, okay? Here's one which is called an RP. This is a much more complex one, much more expensive unit. You definitely want to try to protect this baby. We've got two handles there, just off center, and then you'll notice we've already opened the test cock there. There are 4 test cocks or drains on this one. One here, and 2 on top. One there and one there. It's very simple to just take the screwdriver to those, open those up, and then of course follow the instructions on starting your timer, just to try to again release the down pressure, and then we'll be doing that in the basement in a minute. This one is a Wilkins, and it also, you'll see the handles are like that, and the test cocks are open. So those are just some other examples so that you can, maybe see yours in there, but you get the idea. As I said before, when we're trying to get this drained down into the ground from this side of the backflow, and we'll pull back here, you can see, so the drain in the basement's going to do it from here down. That's going to help a tremendous amount to protect this. Test cocks are open. This then will drain down into the ground through the valves. Easiest way to get that going without having to get your hands super dirty and get into a bunch of spiders and yada 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 is simply to get over here to the clock, to the timer, and you'll see that we can just start it. So right now, if I just, on this clock, if I simply hit this, it says all I need to do is simply have a valve running, and you can see zone 1 for 12 minutes is running. So it can just run. I'll let that run for 5 or 6 minutes. When it's finished, by that time, gravity will allow that water to get down to the ground level. That's going to protect that backflow copper from having water in it. The only way this can freeze and burst is if there's actual physical water in the tube. And that's what we're trying to do, is prevent any water being left in this for the first initial freezes of the winter and the autumn here. So that's what I'm training you on today. And then when it's done with the 5 minutes, simply just turn it off. You just turn that clock off, you're done. And then when we get there to blow out your sprinkler system, we're going to reverse some of these things, and then we're going to run air through all of it, make sure the water's out. The pipes that are in your ground and heading out to your yard are not going to freeze on these initial freezes. That takes several months as the ground freezes down, down, down. Our initial problem is going to be this device. This is the most expensive piece of your sprinkler system to fix besides the manifolds, but those are grounded. You know, they're down in the ground, they're not going to freeze, but this will immediately freeze, especially at the temperatures they're predicting of anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees on Thursday night in this particular case. Okay, Ben here again with Underground Sprinkler. We are now back in the basement where recently we shut off our water here at the shutoff valve. And just a reiteration, your valve may be more of a round handle kind of valve over here, although that's not a shutoff valve. I'm just giving you the round handle as an example. And also it could look like a lever like this one right here, which again, that turns 90 degrees as well. Basically 90 degrees is off. So for instance, this valve is currently on because it's parallel, and that is off. These are a simpler valve, generally a longer lasting, whatever. It doesn't really matter which valve you have. The main thing is that you get shut off. This one is at 90 currently, and that means that it is off. We just turned it off in the last video. And right up here, in this case, the drain is here. Now, some of these will actually have a drain on the physical valve itself. It'll be right here on the side, or this side, whatever. But somewhere there's generally, most of you have one, a drain cap. Now in this case, what we're going to do is take this drain cap off, and it's going to start spewing water. So I'm going to simultaneously take my handy tray here and try to video this. As I pull this cap off, it's going to start spewing a little bit of water, and then you can see it's coming out, making that noise. And I'm just going to drain it back. Probably going to get 3 or 4 cups of water out of this. A great shot, I'm afraid, but anyway, that'll drain down, and as you can see, it's coming out pretty good, but I'm keeping it all in the bucket in this case. Some of you won't have quite the space. Notice it's slowing way down already, and it'll be done here in probably a couple of seconds. And as soon as it's down to about that, you're totally fine for now. You can see it's just draining out now, so I'm just going to set that down, and then we just place, for now, you can just put the cap back in the baggie here, or you can just set it somewhere real close by until we get there, and then we can put it in a baggie. We generally like to recommend you keep that off and make sure that this is actually functioning, because this valve is to stop your source water, and once this is drained out, that shouldn't drip other than the initial drippage. It should never drip. If it starts dripping like a leaky faucet, then you know this valve's not doing its job. And if your cap were on, it would simply fill that pipe all the way back up over the winter, freeze outside, break something, and now you have 2 things to fix. But anyway, this is all just to protect you for now, get you going before we can get there and blow out the sprinkler system, but that'll protect the most expensive parts. The stuff in the ground is not going to freeze on these first few freezes. It's all going to stay liquid. It's just going to be the copper and brass that we're trying to protect today. Thanks, and I hope this was very helpful.